Good to have you on the conversation as we continue now. There's a lot of talk out there of ending the tax-free status of some of these universities, especially when they buck federal law when it comes to DEI and so forth. What about taking away the tax-exempt status of some of these universities? This is one of the conversations. By the way, these universities have about $1 trillion in endowments combined. And that doesn't mean they're all out there guilty, but I mean billions and billions of dollars in some of these schools. Scott Hodge, Arnold Ventures scholar and former Tax Foundation president, joining me now to sort this out. Scott, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Steve. Great to be with you.
So what about tax-exempt status for some of these organizations when they take political stands that are, in opposition to federal law? I mean, can you really take away tax-exempt status? The courts, some say you can, but you've seen a lot of activist judges say you cannot. I don't know what the answer is here. What say you?
Well, I'm a little reluctant to use the IRS to pick on any particular group, but there are lots of reasons to challenge the tax-exempt status for some of these organizations. And universities in particular have become big business. So what I've been advocating is that at least we tax the business side income of these universities, and that would include the investment income from their endowments. And as you mentioned, they have nearly $1 trillion worth of investment in their endowments. Some of these universities, the big ones in particular, earning like 10% annually on their investment income. And here's the rub. They don't spend all that. They only spend about 5% or less on student scholarships and the overhead of the university, and so they're gaining these large endowments keep growing year after year, and they're not actually applying them toward making college less expensive.
No. College is definitely not less expensive. In fact, since Barack Obama moved almost all student loans to the federal government, the cost of going to college has skyrocketed. It's interesting. If one government entity is giving money to another government entity, that being the federal government to a government school, a state school, and there's one middleman in between, that's the student, man, the price goes way up. It's weird, isn't it?
Well, this is called the Bennett principle after William Bennett, who was the Secretary of Education under George Bush the first. And he said that, the more we subsidize universities, the more that tuition is going to go up.
No, because absolutely right.
They're basically capitalizing all the subsidies into building gold-plated, gyms and whatnot, but it's not actually improving the quality of the education, and all we see is the costs go up. It's much like healthcare. The more we subsidize healthcare, the more prices seem to go up. And it seems to be a function of government in the way that we try to help people. It ends up hurting them and undermining the market as a result.
And you have other examples here. College athletes, they have to pay on their NIL money, but the universities don't pay money on the big lucrative television deals they get. Banks pay income tax, but not when taken over by a tax-exempt credit union. And what's the difference, really? Tax-exempt hospitals spend millions on Super Bowl ads. Do they need to be subsidized by taxpayers? And then it comes back to PBS and NPR, which obviously get a lot of our money, and Donald Trump's taking a shot at right now of defunding those folks, making them, compete with me, straight up. I don't get free money from the government to put this program on every day, and I don't want their money. I don't want their strings attached. So, all of these organizations, you raise legitimate concerns about them.
You look at the NCAA, for instance, which gets $1 billion a year in TV revenues, and it pays zero income tax, and its ostensible purpose is to promote amateur athletics. Well, we don't have amateur athletics anymore. We have paid athletes. So if the athletes are going to get paid and pay taxes, shouldn't the NCAA as well? The same thing goes for the Big Ten, the Big East, and all of these big conferences, which are making billions of dollars in TV revenues and other endorsements and pay no income taxes under the guise of being nonprofits. Well, they're actually big sports and entertainment businesses, and they ought to be taxed like them. In fact, what's interesting is that the NFL, the NBA, and MLB all gave up their tax-exempt status many, many years ago under a cloud of controversy. And if they can do it, if they can survive not being tax-free, then some of these big college organizations ought to be able to do it as well.
Yeah. It seems that it just seems that the American taxpayer is sent the bill for one thing after another that just is indefensible. And much of what you've gone through in your list here, Scott, is indefensible. The subsidizing of organizations that have bankrolls a foot thick, right? It's stunning to me. Go ahead.
Well, look at Steve. Credit unions have been tax exempt for over 90 years.
And why?
And
listen, there are credit unions in this town that I can go join. I'm not a member of any special group that they have because they make exemptions for everybody. Oh, you can come join. You can come join. And why are they tax exempt? Why?
Well, because they started out as these little mom and pop shops where a group of people together, like farmers or little businessmen would get together and pool their resources and loan each other money. That's how it all began over 120 years ago. Well, that's really an anachronism now in today's commercial world.
Right.
And now we have credit unions, many of them in Michigan, buying banks.
Right.
Oftentimes in places like Florida.
Well, look, now, if you don't have to pay taxes for 120 years, you can really, build up some capital and go buy some other stuff. Anyhow, I got to leave it there. I don't like, I think that churches should be tax exempt and some other things, but I think that the list is too long and too many people are getting away with not paying into the system. Scott Hodge, Arnold Ventures scholar, Tax Foundation president. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it, man. Yeah, if you don't pay tax for 120 years, man, you got a lot of extra cheese sitting around to go buy stuff next door. That's right. Anyhow, still to come, Dr. Robert Malone's going to be with me. You know who he is, of course. Canceled every step of the way during COVID. He's here. War, enforcing the New World Order, the crimes of Anthony Fauci on tap. Still to come.